this species of Variformin's been extinct since the Cretaceous period. I mean, this thing isn't this thing. What?
Hi, welcome to the channel. I'm the Thesterninator. And if you were anything like me, the moment that you learned about dinosaurs, your world was changed forever, only to have that dream crushed to find out that you would never get to see one. These super cool creatures that you just learned about are gone forever. And maybe your teachers or parents or other adults in your life told you, well, birds or dinosaurs, isn't that cool enough? No, Mrs. Wilson, it's not. I want dinosaurs. So I decided to take it upon myself. I may be a lonely Pokemon artist on the internet, but I thought, what if those dinosaurs never went extinct? What if fossil Pokemon never fossilized and instead adapted and changed to have in the modern Pokemon world? That's exactly what we're doing today. So without much further ado, let's hop into that video. You and I have waited long enough for dinosaurs. Hi, I'm the Thesterninator, but my friends call me Stern. Welcome to the channel. Don't forget while you're here to drop down below, like, comment, and subscribe, do all that fun stuff that makes me and YouTube happy, and let's hop right into the video. Let's start by taking a look at Aerodactyl. Aerodactyl's name breaks down to air fingers. Gross and weird. This Pokemon is based on various species of pterosaur, and we can see these similarities in its wings, head protrusions, and the fact that it is long dead. But what if it wasn't? What if this pterosaur survived all the way up to the modern Pokemon day? Well, there would need to be reason and cause for it to do so. I mean, the niche that this Pokemon would fill has already been taken by other giant skyfaring lizards. Think Charizard or Dragonite. So for Aerodactyl to survive, it would need to either give up that niche or go full hog into it, becoming the top of the food chain, the Lord of the Skies. And being that it is referenced as eating other Pokemon, it would make sense that survival would mean being more ferocious and underhanded than any other Pokemon around. So for the Aerodactyl design, I wanted to go with something that kept a lot of the normal look, but added some draconic features. I don't want to go with anything that feels mythic or legendary, but still could feel like that Lord of the Skies that I keep thinking about when I think of this Pokemon. In a world where this Pokemon would have survived, other Pokemon would have had to adapt or die out instead. Flying predatory Pokemon like Staraptor, Charizard, or Hydreigon would have become smaller because they wouldn't have had enough to eat when having to fight for this food against this other thing. Or they would have to become land-dwelling creatures. Another task with this design comes not from the Pokédex entry for Aerodactyl, but from the entry for Mega Aerodactyl. One document states, Mega Evolution awakened some dormant genes, bringing back the sharp rocks that once covered Aerodactyl's entire body. That means that it wouldn't be the form of Aerodactyl that we know and love that would have survived, but the Mega form instead, which I equally know and love. With the adaptation of becoming a dragon flying type as I see it, the large rocks that cover its body would dwindle down to become more like the ridges that we see on modern day lizards and crocodilians. Being that it's taking the niche of other species, I also wanted to incorporate some of the designs of these other species as well. Some form of convergent evolution, so think of Crobat's dual wings. They make an appearance in this design, as does the head shape of Charizard Y, being brought in to more streamline this look, making it more flying type in appearance, the same way that Charizard Y was much more flying type than normal Charizard. The coloring also becomes more vibrant, with that purple inner wing of Aerodactyl being replaced by this brighter pink that drives in more of that draconic coloring. I really wanted to emphasize the colors that make dragons dragons. Purples, pinks, blues, yellows. And the legs of this Pokemon have actually become more vestigial than they were prior. Think of Hydreigon and how it's actually lost those back limbs more or less as it's gained these wings and become more flying adjacent. I wanted to do the same with this design as well. So this is Aerodraco, the Sky Tyrant Pokémon. For the shiny, I went with that green that drives home that classic dragon look and mimics Aerodactyl's normal shiny coloring. Kabutops is a tough one, because it's based on a few different areas of inspiration. One is the long-dead Trilobite, but the other is the seemingly immortal Horseshoe Crab. This thing has undergone 0 changes in its 445 million years of life. So, a challenge on changing it seems unfeasible. I mean, not even nature could change what this thing looks like or how it operates. It's just always kind of been. But there are some cool facts about the horseshoe crab that make it ripe for the picking. For instance, horseshoe crabs have a near neon blue blood. Their blood is used in the medical industry to detect endotoxins, which can cause serious infections to humans. Given this unique ability that has allowed them to earn protection from humans, I thought it only right that these Kabutops adapt in the way of generating a poison that can be either deadly or life-saving. I'll be honest, the want for a colorful and exciting design kind of overran any other reasoning on this Pokemon. Most of the struggles came from the fact that Kabutops is based on an animal that is still alive today. We can see more of this look in its pre-evolution Kabuto, but the premise is still there, so I had to dive into other reasons for this look. One that came to mind was, again, that filling of a niche. I look at the Pokemon like Garchomp, and how it appears to have at one point been water-dwelling, but made a move to land where it became an apex predator. And if you're gonna tell me that that's not true or not a fact, look at it. It's a shark, and it's a land shark. Land sharks are the precursors to regular sharks. Or I should say, regular sharks are the precursors to whatever the heck Garchomp is. I see this version of Kabutops taking that very confusing spot. The bright colors that now adorn its body are also both a reference to the blue blood of horseshoe crabs and how many poisonous animals wear bright colors to warn predators to stay away. However, over time, this Pokemon has found itself becoming that apex predator. It became the lead hunter of any area that it wandered into. I mean, it wields these 2 massive sights and has toxic blood. How can it not? There's also this rumor that Genesect is an augmented Kabutops, and so I wanted to bring some elements of that into this one as well, like with that purple head and the smoothed edges of the body. It has a very technical type of feel without any actual technology taking place, as though Genesect would have been the truest and final form of this Pokemon. But in this world, where Kabutops never went extinct, this version is the true and final form. Meet Kabutops. I know the name sounds very similar, but the difference is a lot. It lies in the name and the term Kapu. Kapu is Hawaiian for law, or rule, or justification, to further exemplify that this Pokemon quickly becomes the apex predator of any area that it chooses to call home. And for the shiny, I wanted to bring in those Garchomp type of colors, because again, this Pokemon is filling that niche in more ways than one. Hi, real quick, did you know that YouTube members get exclusive videos, early access to normal videos, and the chance to win giveaways all for only $3 a month? Oh, you did know that. Okay, but did you know that joining is as easy as hitting the join button just under this video? You knew that too? Well, did you know that giraffes hum at night despite scientists once believing that their vocal cords actually didn't work and didn't serve a purpose? Oh. Well. And I'm sorry for wasting your time. I'll let you get back to the video then. We've spent some time talking about the food chain and how animals adapt to fit specific niches. But what happens when your niche is suddenly flooded with other species? Well, that would be the case for Omastar. This Pokemon is based on the Ammonite. These critters come from when nature was in its rebellious phase. Spiraled shells, conical shells, shells of all shapes and sizes. These things ruled the earth for a good period of time, just before all dying off. So for Omastar to survive this mass extinction, it would need to find a new niche. Fish and other aquatic Pokemon suddenly left food scarce for these small and slow-moving mollusk cousins. So Omastar began feeding on microscopic Pokemon to survive, trading in some defenses for speed to better escape their new predators. Omastar, we actually get a good amount of evidence on why it went extinct, which gives some solid direction on what to do with this new form. It's written, Its heavy shell is thought to be the reason this ancient Pokemon died out. It's apparently a distant ancestor of Octillery. From this, we learn that for its survival, we would need to lose that shell, or at least change it in a couple different ways. We also learn that it is a distant ancestor to an already existing Pokemon. Meanwhile, actual Ammonites... Ammonite? This is going to be a nightmare to differentiate, but Ammonites have some connections to animals like squids and nautiluses, so we have a good amount of resources to pull from. I went with a more streamlined shell that works to allow for more smooth swimming over that bottom feeder type of design that Omastar already has. For the body, I wanted to carry over this lore that it started eating more microscopic prey over catching fish, and so gave it longer tentacles to go for a quantity over quality approach. While it can still capture slow-moving fish, its primary source of nutrition would be through plankton and bacteria. Upon finishing up the initial design, I realized that I'd actually just made a simplified Malamar, which would be a problem, but a lot of animals, both aquatic and terrestrial, use mimicry as a useful defense mechanism. So looking like just a plain old evil Pokemon like Malamar would do a lot to ensure that this otherwise defenseless Pokemon is given a wide berth. Meanwhile, a trainer who would be stoked to stumble across a Malamar may find themselves accidentally in possession of this little guy, which also adds to the defenses of this Pokemon, who would now have a big strong trainer to look over it. This is Omanyte. The name comes from Omastar and Nautilus, with the shiny hitting that classic shiny lime green. It's nothing to be too worried about, but with that heavy shell now out of the way, this Pokemon's speed has increased drastically. So, do you think it's good that these Pokemon went extinct? That is a terrible way of phrasing that. Let me start over. Which was your favorite? Would you prefer Pokemon like these over their standard fossil forms? Let me know down in the comments below. While you're down there, don't forget to stop by the description where you can find my Ko-fi. There you can purchase designs like these ones for yourself. Some are from previous videos and some are stuff that wasn't released. You can also become a Patreon supporter for exclusive videos and high-res images of Pokemon from these videos. And join the Discord. Not much else to say about that. It's free. There's some people in there. I guess those are selling points. But with all that said, it sounds like you know where to find me, and I'll catch you in the next one. But before we go, I want to give a big shout out to all the supporters who help make these videos possible, with a big McThankies from McSpankies to some of our higher tier supporters, those being Drake Null, Jeremy Sunday, Justin Grenier, Siren Sprague, Daniel, Kaylin Cat, Soren Frost, Styx TV, Dan Bush, Ko-fi supporter, and King Squid. And I don't want to forget any of our YouTube members as well, whose names I will now absolutely decimate in pronunciation. Jericho, Phoenix Smith, Zadida Ravenmore, Somnistar Zzz, Arctic Rose Cratons, Buddha Penguin, Took, Umbra Akitis, Asa the Grand Dragon, Aaron Best, Beep, Bring Adam, Frostbit 3, Anastasia Maria, Tainte, Justin Grenier, Tobias Does Thangs, King to Total, Maika Art, Sigil Sealed, Kaelin Cat, and Crimbo McSwizzly.